Hello folks, Halcylion here. 2 years have passed since my journey started and I feel like I've made good progress so far. I got a couple of profitable workshops, a decent caravan, a family, and I'm wearing the most expensive armor on the continent. Also, 100,000 dinars isn't a whole lot, but I could confidently say that money is no issue for the time being. Where could we go from here? That question will be answered throughout this video. Welcome to the 7th episode of Trader Stories. It would not be the first time we began an episode outside Lagetta, and we've already taken inventory of what we have. It is a solid foundation. Now we gotta look at what we don't have, and make progress towards getting it. So what don't I have? A trade skill of 225. I could skip this step and claim ownership of castles the old-fashioned way, but this is Trader Stories, not Tales of Conquest, so we have to make an effort to raise my merchant skill to that level. I'll either have to dedicate some time to doing regular trade runs, as I've done so far, or to creating trade routes and destabilize the economy to level up that way, in addition to making fat stacks. But there's an even better avenue of making dinars, one we explored previously but didn't pay off at the time. Smithing. I could get lucky and unlock expensive weapon designs. I also need more companions. 2 out of the available 5 slots are taken by a medic and a scout. I should try to hire a trader, an engineer and a rogue, and when my clan expands, we'll also be able to hire a tactician, maybe even a dedicated blacksmith. We'll see. With these 3 short-term goals now in place, there's no time to waste. Let's get to work. In the Tavern of Lagetta, there's 2 potential companions. Yeremos of the Hills, possessing useless skills, and Darim of the Wastes. This filler has a huge scouting skill, 140, way more than my current scout, so what do? Garain is leading a caravan, so I cannot cut him loose just yet, but I also cannot just refuse a guy with such a well-developed skill. Oh well, I'll hire Darim, and if Garain's caravan gets destroyed, I'll fire him for gross incompetence. In the meantime, I'll just have 2 scouts, no problem. I shall mark that as progress towards goal number 3. I also tried making progress on goal number 1 by spending 7k on various cheap goods, which should bring me a profit in a nearby town. Immediately after, I also took steps to accomplish goal number 2, so I went in the forge and I made my companions refine some charcoal and smelt some weapons and make materials to craft weapons. But I can't just practice these 3 things at the same time and achieve any significant progress, so I'm gonna have to focus on just one. Right now that focus is on trading, but just in case I want to switch my focus to smithing, I spent 10k on various weapons here in Lagetta. Smelting them could prove an enlightening experience. Next stop, Ortesia. We traded some stuff from earlier and earned another point in trade. After this, you can probably guess which town I'll visit next. Kiaz, of course. It seems this is my favorite trade route. I did not sell a lot of stuff in here, but as I was about to close the deal on the stuff I bought, I received another sign that I am even more of an elite gamer than I were in the previous episode. In the tavern of this town, there weren't any interesting characters. There were 2 possible companions, but both of them were warriors. If I wanted warriors, I'd hire more recruits. Sorry boys, but I need specialists. I also took part in a tournament here in Kiaz. Let me tell you how it went. In the first round, I felt the gentle caress of a javelin on my face and I got taken out of the game. But my teammates managed to carry me to victory and qualified us for round 2. This time I was paired with a guy wearing the same armor as mine, so I let him do the work, fully expecting him to win against 2 opponents. He didn't, but I scored us a victory and qualified for round 3, where I fought my armor twin. It got rather difficult after he broke my shield, but then I turned my aggression to 200% and emerged victorious. Round 4 was way easier than round 3, so obviously I have won yet again. I don't plan on talking about each and every tournament I participate in, but this one had plenty of mistakes and twists to make it different from the rest. What came after was a mistake on my part. I assigned my wife as a quartermaster and the scout as a scout. What I didn't realize was that my steward and scouting skills won't develop anymore since I'd rely on those 2 to do my job for me, and I cannot have that. I need to keep earning skill points if I am to increase my main level. Only a bit later was I able to identify this mistake and correct it by telling my companions they are released from their roles. The next thing I've done was stop in Ortija yet again, earning 15,000 from trading and another skill point. These skill points are getting harder and harder to come by, but I'll eventually reach my goal. In Lageta, I earned another 10k, but no skill point. After that sale, I decided that if I want to quickly develop my trade skill, I will have to destabilize the markets and create opportunities for trade that way. But for that, I'll need a lot of money. So I rested a little while and started experimenting at the forge yet again. Some of the blacksmiths I met in my travels told me that crafting Halcylions can teach me a lot about weapon designs in addition to making heavy money. So I crafted one of these, a one-handed Halcyon. Well, can't say this one was so great. I learned how to craft an axe handle, and I would sell this weapon for 1,000 dinars. I am disappointed. Shortly after, I ran into the leader of the Western Empire, and I got another history lesson about the military failures of my grandfather-in-law. Failures which I would hopefully not repeat. Then I made my way towards my favorite town, Seonon, where I parted with 22,000 dinars in hopes that I will raise my mercantile proficiency. That did happen to a tiny degree when I offloaded my investments in Marunath, but as I've said, I need a faster way to improve my commercial knowledge. But I need lots of money to make that happen, so I returned at the forge and kept experimenting with designs, hoping for a breakthrough. I crafted an axe and got disappointed. I crafted a short sword and got disappointed. And then I kept looking at various designs, trying to figure out how to jumpstart my career as a weapons trader. I know it's possible, I just don't know where to start. So I decided to forge the biggest Halcyon anyone has ever seen. Two-handed, huge blade, leather grip handle, long-armed guard. This sword was way more complex than anything I have ever tried, way above my skill level. And then my hammer struck. Huge Halcyon, I named it. Appropriate, I would say. This gave me 12 skill points in smithing, and in an instant, my brain was infused with ancient knowledge from the greatest blacksmiths to ever live. I learned 10 different weapon designs from crafting just one sword. This was my breakthrough. Shortly after, I unlocked this perk and spent another 10k on various weapons, hoping to learn more weapon parts by smelting them. In my excitement, I didn't even bother to check the price of the Halcyon. I was just pleased to have found a weapon design that would teach me new things about smithing. But I was not focused on anything, I still tried making some trades and improving my expertise in that field. So I went to PC, spent another 14k and then made my way to Lageta, hoping it's worth the investment. I can't say that it was. Only at this point did I bother to check the price of the Falcon I just crafted, and I was very happy when I saw it could be sold for 20,000. Well, how's that for a breakthrough? If I can get 20k for every weapon I craft, I'm never gonna have money problems ever again. I could then use all this money to shape the market to my desire and speed up the development of my trading skill. You know what this means, my fellow merchants? It looks like I need to abandon my other short-term goals and solely focus on smithing for the time being. So I went back at the forge and took a look at other weapon designs before resigning myself to crafting heavy Halcyons until something better came along. And it did. You see, crafting expensive weapons teaches you revolutionary things, like putting a spearhead on a tree branch to make a javelin. Maybe this was my next hustle. But for now, let's try selling the thing I just made. 46,000! Jesus! Now I can safely say that money is no longer an issue. That's it. I wanted 1 million dinars, well, I got a better deal. Unlimited dinars. At least for as long as I'm able to obtain fine steel. But can we do better than this? Probably. Let's travel to a town that can actually afford to purchase this sword I made. On my way north, I met a Vlandian nobleman named Ingolthur, who gave me another history lesson and then instructed me to speak with 2 former Imperial agents who would have more information on the subject. I guess I'll head over to Marunath to both make money and have a chat with Ardzagos. It would appear the artifact I found in the beginning is part of a banner which gives its bearer claim to the Imperial throne, although Ardzagos wants me to use this claim to destroy the Empire. I could use this banner to lay claim to the entire continent, so whether my dominion is called the Empire or not the Empire doesn't make much difference. Whatever bro, just tell me where to find the next banner piece. It's in a bandit hideout not far from here. Well, I'm not going there just yet. I have found my focus for the next weeks, forging weapons and getting fat stacks of gold. Speaking of which, let's get back to the forge and put the previously learned designs to use. We can now craft javelins with the tree branch as the handle. Look at this monstrosity, a long, beautifully forged steel spearhead jabbed on top of a gnarled tree branch. This is the ugliest javelin I have ever seen, and yet it earned me 27 skill points in smithing and 23 new weapon designs. This is even bigger than my first Halcylion, although without it we wouldn't be here. Now I've unlocked the Curious Smith perk, which allows me to learn even more designs after forging a good weapon. I am curious how much money would I get for this gnarled javelin. 121,215 denars. Who in their right mind would pay such a ridiculous price for this ugly piece of trash? You know what? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If the people of Maronath want to go starving for a week to put money together to take this thing off my hands, more power to them. Well, the entire town does not have enough money to actually pay me for this, but I can complete the price with swords, armors, and everything else these people want to throw at me. On second thought, I'm not selling it here. I will instead visit Epic Town to get their money and whatever goods they'll give me for this masterpiece of shit gnarled javelin. 45,000 in the bank and several weapons in my inventory, including a Damascus steel sword which can be smelted into Thamaskin steel, or sold into another town for a reduced price. I think I'll take the steel, it's harder to come by than the money, as you've just seen. Now let's have a chat with Istiana and ask her about another banner piece. She wants me to promise to reform the Empire. Lady, if I am to rule this world, it would not matter whether the Imperial label is there or not, so just give me the damn information. Whatever my choice, I'm gonna have to lie to one of these people to assemble the Dragon Banner of Calradios. But that is a goal for another time. Right now, I need to keep forging and making ridiculous amounts of money. The hardest part of this whole blacksmithing endeavor is actually traveling from town to town trying to get paid for your weapons. But travel presents us with the opportunity to also trade and keep an eye out for companions, so now that I have unlimited money I need to develop my trade skill to actually be able to spend it all on castles and towns. My breakthrough moment with the Halcylion wasn't a mere step towards achieving my goals. It was a gigantic leap. All I need to do now is keep up the momentum. My next stop shall be in Diathma. I sold some of my inventory in here for about 16k, and I'm inching closer to my desired trade level of 225. I'm more than halfway there, and I suspect that once I create those opportunities I repeatedly mentioned, I'm going to level up even faster. While resting in this town, I saw that my investments are going pretty well. 1.8k earned daily from a couple of workshops and a caravan. Not too shabby. The purpose of this passive income is to ensure that you will always pay the daily wages of your army and garrisons. The reason I rested in town was to go to the forge again and make some more gnarled javelins, my specialty. The first one I crafted today taught me 22 new weapon designs, the second taught me 17 more, and the third was going to have a smoother handle, so at the very least I wouldn't sell those gnarled pieces of shit anymore. Now I was going to sell actual javelins, although their prices were the same. I'm noticing that each time I craft one of these, I learn fewer and fewer designs, unlocking only 13 weapon parts on the third javelin I crafted. But that's still a whole damn lot. This day also marks 1 month since this journal entry began. So what better way to celebrate other than taking a look at our accomplishments? We started with 100k, now we have 238,000 denars, and 3 javelins that are together valued at 360,000. The total value of my inventory is over 600,000. That is huge. I don't yet have the 1 million denars, but that goal can be achieved in about a week of smithing and selling my creations, so as far as I'm concerned, I've accomplished that objective. 2 more goals remain: obtain a city and build a huge army, not necessarily in that order. But there's still a long way to go from here. I guess I need to update my job description from trader to weapons trader. To be entirely honest, this feels way too easy, and I think that in time, the prices of these weapons will severely go down. But if you can get 10 to 15,000 denars for a single weapon, it's still worth it to dedicate some time to blacksmithing. I guess I gotta sell these javelins while they're hot and get my money before the people realize they've been scammed out of 100,000 denars for a sharp piece of iron bolted onto a stick. Anyway, what came after my time in Diathma isn't really worth talking about, so I'll give you the gist of it. I spent the next 5 days just traveling from town to town, buying cheap wares and selling my weapons and just fattening my coin purse. I've also fought some looters, but you know how these fights usually go, there's no reason to talk details. I've also experimented with crafting a Thamaskin sword, but apparently the one-handed version isn't anywhere near as expensive as its two-handed counterpart, even though the two are built to the exact same specifications. Something is strange, that's for sure, but as long as I get my money, I don't really care. Anyway, when I reached Zionica, I decided to wrap things up and call it a day, or rather, call it a month. By this time, I sold some of my weapons, crafted some others, and I was sitting nicely with 360,000 dinars in my pocket, and another 360,000 worth of weapons, so, as I've already said, from here, money is no issue. All that's left to do is to use it to buy out the best weapons and armors for my companions, and create some trade opportunities to greatly increase my trade skill, and then our journey will have reached its conclusion. But there's still some time to go. Well folks, this was all I had for today. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.